right now on 5 on your side at 10.
We start with breaking news. An intense all-day manhunt for a convicted sex offender is over tonight. Just about 2 hours ago, Tommy Wayne Boyd was captured in Shrewsbury. Good evening. I'm Mike Bush.
And I'm Ann Allred. Tonight's capture ends a nearly 16-hour search that had several neighborhoods on high alert today. Boyd walked out of Mercy South Hospital off 270 and Tesson Ferry around 4 o'clock this morning. And just before 8 o'clock tonight, he was taken into custody about 7 miles away at the Deerberg store off of Watson. 5 on your side's Robert Townsend is live outside the store with the very latest. Robert.
Hey there, Ann. You know, right now this Deerberg's parking lot is back to normal. But again, as you just mentioned, about 2 hours ago, let me tell you, lots of police officers moved in and arrested Tommy Wayne Boyd. Take a look at the video. Police telling us Boyd walked into the Deerbergs, at least tried to, but then officers with St. Louis County Police Department's Special Response Unit and federal marshals quickly moved in it and arrested him. Now here's video. You can see about a dozen law enforcement officers surrounded Boyd, who had been on the run from police all day. Police then put him in a St. Louis County police car. We also saw them collecting a large plastic bag. At this hour, we still don't know what was in the bag. Again, police say around 4 this morning, security cameras at Mercy South Hospital caught Boyd on video walking quickly out of the South County Hospital and escaping from 2 officers. A state law enforcement source tells 5 on your side Boyd apparently escaped when one of the 2 guards assigned to watch him went to a restroom and the other guard fell asleep. Boyd then took a handcuff key from the sleeping guard and took off. But again, he is now under arrest. Here's a reaction from a Deerberg's shopper.
I'm more disgusted at the fact that it even happened to begin with than anything. I'm very happy at the fact that they did react quickly. I mean, they've had helicopters and everybody out all over everywhere. We're actually from Tower Grove. So we've seen a lot of things going in motion, but like I said, it comes down to it's very disgusting that it happened at all.
Now, police arrested Boyd without any problems. The department also was very commendable, thanking the community for helping getting the word out and getting those officers here where they tracked him down right here, again, just about 8 o'clock tonight in this store's parking lot. We're live in Shrewsbury. I'm Robert Townsend, 5 on your side.
Spot showers and storms are hitting St. Louis tonight. Photojournalist Mark Mowry shot this video while driving on I-70 in North St. Louis County earlier tonight. It is some much-needed rain, but one storm flipped campers over north of Sparta, Illinois. So let's get the latest from Weather First Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell.
Yeah, Mike, those storms are settling down tonight, but we'll take you back to about 6:45 over southern portions of St. Clair County. We were watching thunderstorms essentially merging here near Marissa, and in the Marissa area, still have about 60 customers without power. As that storm pushed down to the north of Sparta, it did create some strong winds, and Emergency Management Randolph County shared these pictures from near the shooting complex that's just north of Sparta right there. These are campers at the campground that moved or blown over. Of course, they're not usually anchored down. They're pretty lightweight, so you get the wind hitting them at the right angle and they'll flip right over. So those pictures from Randolph County Emergency Management. No reports of any injuries in the Sparta area. The Sparta police were estimating 60 to 70 mile per hour winds. What's on the radar now? Not much. Looking down to that same area, those storms have all but died. There's a couple of little spritzes right now over Chester, Illinois. Even the storms in the Metro East diminishing. There could be some more spot storms tomorrow. We get a break on Saturday. We'll time out that weekend rain chance in a few minutes.
All right, Scott. Developing tonight in Ferguson, police looking for a 7-year-old girl they say was taken by her mother who does not have custody. An endangered person advisory has been issued for Zyla Neese. She's believed to be with her mother, Tarika Turner. Police said the girl's grandmother, who has custody, allowed her to go to the store with her mother on Sunday, but they never returned. If you see them, you're asked to call 911.
Just a few hours ago, prosecutors announced charges against an Afton man accused in a shootout with police. 59-year-old Carl Shuey is charged with first-degree attempted assault and armed criminal action. He remains hospitalized tonight with critical injuries. St. Louis County Police were called to his home on Rambler Drive last night for a domestic disturbance. Officers say Shuey was on the front porch and raised 2 guns at them. They exchanged gunfire. No officers were hurt. Fireworks tonight at what was supposed to be a special board meeting in the city of Pinelawn.
Some neighbors there are trying to get rid of the mayor, claiming he's not being transparent or responding to their concerns. Our Brent Solomon was the only reporter there as police had to be called to the scene. Brent.
Some neighbors here say they're fed up. They've caught the attention of some of their aldermen who all gathered here tonight to begin the process of trying to remove the mayor. But that never happened, and here's why.
What is the meeting about? This ain't no meeting.
An explosive start to what was supposed to be a special meeting in Pinelawn Thursday.
You trying to start? I don't play that game. You don't know who you talking to. You need to get out here tonight.
Police called to the scene to make sure things didn't get out of hand when tensions escalated. Certain aldermen were planning to hire an attorney separate from the city attorney to oust Mayor Terry Epps. But when they tried to go into executive session, the city attorney told them this meeting does not follow protocol. It wasn't posted and advertised for 24 hours.
He is not representing us. He's representing the mayor. This is another tactic to try to keep us from meeting and doing what we need to do.
We're not going to go back and forth like this.
Neighbors say they want more transparency.
He doesn't give us invoices on anything.
And improved city services.
We got trees hanging on wires. They will not come and cut it.
They say a city audit hasn't been conducted in years, leading them to question the state of the city's finances.
And we're here because we don't like the confusion. We want to go forth and get this city where it needs to be.
The city is going great under my leadership. We're working hard to keep the city going and doing good. We're trying to take care of the residents, and my fight to continue to improve our community is going to keep going. You know, I don't have time to focus on the negativity that goes on. My focus is on building and uplifting this community.
You know, the mayor has been in office here for nearly 8 years. He says the people elected him on 4 separate occasions. But that's not stopping that group of neighbors who you just heard from, who say they're getting with their aldermen right now to re-advertise their intentions and move forward. And
Tonight, police are searching for the person who drove off in a St. Louis City ambulance from St. Mary's Hospital in Richmond Heights. This happened around 5 this morning. Investigators say crews with Medic 26 were admitting a patient into the hospital when a recently discharged patient hopped into the ambulance and drove off. The ambulance was tracked and recovered about 9 miles away near the Dutchtown neighborhood. The ambulance was not damaged, nothing was taken, but that didn't quiet the concerns for Fire Chief Dennis Jankerson.
It's a piece of equipment that people probably don't drive too often, so it's not an easy piece of equipment to drive. So first thing we're worrying about is this guy going to cause harm or injury to somebody else, not paying attention to what he's doing and not knowing the systems on the unit. So that's always a big worry for us.
Chief Jankerson says the ambulances are designed to stay locked and running. The department is investigating whether there was a mechanical failure or if procedures were not followed. Confusion and frustration tonight for St. Charles residents over the cleanup of the city's ongoing water contamination issues.
Just yesterday, the city shut down another well, and today Ameren filed a motion to have the city's latest lawsuit moved to federal court. 5 on your side, Laura Barczewski is in studio to break down what you need to know. Laura?
Mike and Ann, residents tell me they're concerned. They say they just want the cleanup to move forward and the fighting to stop.
This all started when the city of St. Charles found contaminants in drinking water wells in the Elm Point well field. The EPA ordered Ameren to clean up the contamination they found was connected to the Houston substation. They're now down to 1 well that produces over 700,000 gallons a day.
What we would like to do is reopen the wells, clean them with this system that we bought for $12 million, and go ahead and move along.
St. Charles Mayor Dan Borgmeyer says to monitor contamination, they were pumping water through well number 4 into the sewer system, which is the one closest to the substation.
So what we're doing is checking it to see how effective it is. Well, all of a sudden, now we're getting vinyl chloride back in well 4.
That chemical is the one they're most concerned about. The EPA sent out a letter this week asking the city to stop the well, claiming there are concerns from both them and Ameren The pumping could spread the contamination and reduce the effectiveness of current cleanup efforts.
They said if you interfere, we'll name you as a responsible party for the contamination too. So obviously they backed us off on that.
Ameren tried to install an extraction well, saying, quote, an additional extraction well inside the Houston substation is necessary to counteract the city's most recent irresponsible action to use the obsolete well. But the extraction well plan from Ameren was not approved by the EPA, so the city of St. Charles went to court to try and stop them, leading to the latest development Thursday. Ameren filed a motion to get the lawsuit moved to federal court. Residents say they're tired of the fighting.
Let the scientists do the work, follow the legal process, the CERCLA process, EPA process, and just get it cleaned up. However, the community needs to understand that it does take decades, and that's not willful. It's just, it is what it is.
There is a court hearing scheduled for Monday, but tonight, St. Charles citizens and community partners formed a community advisory group to help keep each other informed, and we'll have more information about how you can get involved on KSDK.com.
Tomorrow, a visitation will be held for a fallen Marine from the Metro East. Tonight, more than 200 volunteers placed flags along a 7-mile stretch in Belleville to honor Captain Eleanor LeBeau Cook. She was one of 3 U.S. service members killed in a training exercise in Australia last month. Tomorrow's visitation is from 3 until 7 at George Renner and Sons Funeral Home in Belleville. The funeral is Saturday at 10:30 a.m. at St. Peter's Cathedral Catholic Church in Belleville.
Tonight, a tale of 2 picket lines. Auto workers are prepared to rev up their strike, while Hollywood writers could be writing the ending to their walkout. It's a staple at local cookouts, but is the pork steak a St. Louis original? We verify.
Some of you may be firing up the grill just in time for the Mizzou game Saturday, but will Mother Nature be firing up thunderstorms? A timeline on the weekend rain chances.
Tonight marks exactly 1 week since workers at the GM plant in Wentzville hit the picket line. It's one of the 3 plants chosen by the union as part of the targeted strike. But more plants could join them within hours. The union has threatened the big 3 automakers with more walkouts if progress is not made by tomorrow. The automakers have begun layoffs of non-striking workers at other plants across the country, calling it a negative ripple effect of their strike. Tonight, a Hollywood ending could be in sight for the months-long writer's strike. The studios and the union were back at the negotiating table today. Reportedly, the 2 sides are close to a deal to end this 150-day strike. The actors union is hoping an agreement with writers will lead to their own deal.
A live look tonight at the U.S. Capitol. We're just 9 days away from the federal government running out of money. And without congressional action, we could be headed for a partial government shutdown. Republicans continue to call for more spending cuts. U.S. aid for Ukraine is tied up in the budget showdown, and today Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky was in Washington pressing President Biden and Congress for billions more dollars. But some Republicans want proof Ukraine can win its war against Russia. Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri met with Zelensky and says his position has not changed.
Oh, I'm not in favor of additional Ukraine funding, particularly not without any real oversight. It just amazes me that we can't have an inspector general to actually track where the money is going.
I consider it a bargain to be able to break and humiliate Russia in the world stage.
President Biden is expected to announce an additional $325 million aid package for Ukraine, but that's separate from the $24 billion he's pressing Congress to approve. Disappointing news tonight for local Guns N' Roses fans. The hard rock band has canceled its St. Louis concert at Busch Stadium. September 9th show was postponed due to illness. Organizers say they couldn't work out a new date. Ticket holders should check their email for refund information. Lead singer Axl Rose released a statement saying, "I am, as is the band, really bummed we're forced to cancel our show in St. Louis. The history, the memories, the return, and to share that bond with our fans." A lot of that history includes the infamous 1991 riot at Riverport Amphitheater, which started after Rose jumped into the crowd. 60 people were hurt during 3 hours of chaos and fights. Rose was charged with assault and property damage and ordered to pay a fine. It would be 26 years before the band made a return stop in St. Louis.
If you're from St. Louis, you've likely have had your share of pork steaks. It's a St. Louis staple, and you don't usually see it a lot of times on menus in other cities. But one 5 on your side photojournalist asked the Verify team if our city can take credit for inventing it. Let's verify. It's the only cut of meat in the pork family.
Wow, not real hot.
That's called a steak. And in St. Louis, the pork steak is a barbecue favorite. And one of our 5 on your side employees asked the Verify team about its origins.
Summertime in St. Louis means pork steaks. But what I want to know is, were pork steaks invented in St. Louis?
Clark, let's verify. Our sources, food historian Robert Moss, Schnucks, Google Books Archives, and newspapers.com archives. The Schnucks website claims members of the Schnuck family in the 1950s wanted to offer a cheaper cut of meat for grilling, and the pork steak was born. But Moss was able to find newspaper clippings mentioning pork steaks in the early 1800s. There's also books mentioning how to cut and cook pork steaks that were printed in 1916 and 1933. The first mention of pork steaks in St. Louis supermarkets dates back to 1913, when local supermarket Remley first advertised the products at 12 cents per pound. When the Verify team asked Schnucks about claiming the invention of the pork steak, the company spokesperson said, "As you can probably figure, there is no one who is working at the company now that would have been around back then, so I can only provide the information that has been given to me, which is the same that is on our website."
It's possible that Schnucks had ever heard of a pork steak, and a butcher there came up with the idea, and sort of independently, and they figured they invented it.
We can verify, no, the pork steak was not invented in St. Louis. What would you like us to verify? Send us an email. The email address is verify@ksdk.com.
Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell joins us now with that weather first forecast. We needed some rain this week, Scott, and we got some.
Yes, we did.
Some areas picking up some pretty heavy rain this evening, but for most of us, widespread beneficial rain has not been on the table. We have seen scattered showers and thunderstorms, or even isolated showers and storms. There's a couple of clusters out to our west that look impressive right now. And we say out to our west, we're talking along the Missouri-Kansas border. They'll probably fizzle before they get into the metro area. Tonight, we watched as those showers and thunderstorms bubbled through the region. There is very little left of rainfall around St. Louis right now, but that's the storm of the night, the one that developed across southern portions of St. Clair County near Marissa, went down through Sparta. That caused the wind damage here with the campers being blown over at the shooting complex there just north of Sparta. A lot of those campers moved by strong gusty winds, which Sparta police were estimating of 60 miles per hour or higher. And that information, including the fact that no injuries have been reported, coming to us from the Randolph County Emergency Management. Well, we are looking at the rainfall totals across parts of southern St. Clair County, close to 2 inches. Jill shared that with us on our 5 on Your Side Weather Watchers Facebook group. Look at the rain come in with the St. Charles, downtown St. Charles Main Street camera here. This is time lapse this evening. We had one big shower just kind of roll on through, a few little drops of rain, then whoosh, here it comes. Heavy rain, a little gust of wind. Folks trying to eat outside tonight in St. Charles having some problems with that because of the rain rolling in, and then it left. Areas of showers, though, with the humidity rising and those average temperatures, that's keeping our mosquito forecast in that moderate to high category. It's 71 right now, 66 the dew point. You can feel the humidity. 62 was our low. We did pick up 1/3 of an inch of rain officially at Lambert. Most of the rain over for tonight in the metro area. Just a few spritzes and sprinkles here and there for the next couple of hours. What's coming at us from the west ought to diminish some by the morning, but then as we head towards midday tomorrow, we may have to ramp those rain chances back up across the area. If that happens, and of course these are all thunderstorm-induced disturbances, so leaves a little bit to be desired in timing. But if that happens midday, that would clear us out or at least quiet things down in time for the high school football games tomorrow evening. And that's what we're going with at this point. Saturday should be mainly dry. On Sunday, the rain chances will begin to ramp up once again. The better chances coming our way for Sunday in the afternoon and into Sunday night. If you're heading up to Champaign for the Illini game, looking good there. Mizzou coming to the Dome. And on Saturday, dry weather, warm weather for tailgating in St. Louis. How about that? 87 for the high temperature on Saturday afternoon. Fall arrives, astronomically speaking, at 1:50 in the morning. We get some rain as we head into Sunday, at least the chance, maybe still a chance Monday. Most of next week, though, is relatively comfortable with temperatures at or just a hair above average.
Great news for that tailgating on Saturday.
Yeah.
Scott, thank you. Let's get to Corey Miller with sports.
Well, the Blues are back on the ice. City SC is in the playoffs, and a local high school coach is back in the NFL. Stick around. Sports is up next.
The Sports Desk is sponsored by Jim Butler Chevrolet, the Midwest's #1 Chevy dealer 10 years running.
We have hit that time of the year. Things are cooling off outside. Our sports office is obsessed with fantasy football, and hockey season is creeping up on us. The Blues officially got training camp started this morning ahead of a season sure to be full of intrigue. It was a well-oiled machine today at Centene despite 57 players being on hand, as well as the new coaches on the staff. The 57 were split into 3 groups over 2 sessions and went at it hard. Many of the players have already been in town working together for 2 or 3 weeks, and some stayed here all off-season. Coach Craig Berube was pleased with today's work, but he's not surprised by his players and their motivation.
We want to put last year behind us and move forward, and I think our guys put the work in this summer. They came in here early, skating on their own, working on things, very energized. So, that's what happens when you have disappointment.
This 5 on Your Side St. Louis City SC coverage is sponsored by Together Credit Union.
Well, it is official. City SC is in. The expansion team will play in the playoffs in their very first season. It's an impressive feat on its own, but as you'd expect, this team wants more. Last night's draw against now third-placed LAFC kept a 6-point cushion between the two teams in the West, with Seattle now sliding into second place, 5 points back. With 4 games left, that #1 overall seed is the focus, and City knows these last few games will feel like the playoffs.
Yeah, I think it's valuable. I think every team that we've been playing recently and every team we're coming up against has a real chance of something, right? So that we get good reps like this. We've been treating it like that internally, as if it were playoff games, and again, puts us to the test, right? So we heard LAFC players talking about how it's a final for them this game. And I think if you look at that, for the new kids on the block, we take that as a big compliment to us, what we've done this season.
The Cardinals lost 6-0 to Milwaukee today. They also got some bad news on their catcher. Wilson Contreras is heading to the IL with a left wrist injury, ending his first season in St. Louis. Contreras had 20 home runs, 67 RBIs, and an .826 OPS in 125 games this year. The pain is down and the Dome is ready to welcome Mizzou to town against Memphis on Saturday. They'll have a number of St. Louis players making homecomings, and one of them is Marvin Burks Jr. The true freshman from Cardinal Ritter has already earned playing time at safety and kick returner and has wasted no time adjusting to SEC football.
The physicality, I know high school I was able to just run through guys, just run as fast and just hit them. But now it's more technique to it. Because I feel like now that I made one play, I feel like I got to make plenty more, and I feel like I'll be in position with this defense and with the team to make a lot of more plays because I know I'm capable of doing that.
We have a fun show lined up for 5 on Your Sideline tomorrow night. Our game of the week heads to Freeburg, and I guarantee one of their assistant coaches had a much different week than any other coach in the area. Starting this season, Belleville West grad and former Lions, Browns, and Bengals kicker Austin Seibert had been helping Freeburg on special teams. That was until last week when he got a call during practice from the New York Jets. He ended up filling in for an injured Greg Zuerlein in Dallas and made a field goal and an extra point. Such is the life of a free agent kicker.
He gets a phone call and he kind of steps away, and me and Coach Young sitting there just still talking, and then he comes back up. He's like, "Hey guys," he goes, "sorry, but I got to go catch a flight to New York. The Jets are going to have me try out." And we're like, "That's awesome, man."
The progression from last year to this year is insane. Just working out with him, just listening to what he has to say, it works. He knows what he's talking about.
I can vouch, first person to ever spend 1 week on a Freeburg sideline and the next week in the NFL. I'm guaranteed of that.
Yeah. All right, Corey, thanks.
Inflation is not playing tricks on Halloween. The record spending that will be a treat for retailers.
You can bring home the bacon by being a couch potato. OnlineCasinos.com, an online ranking service, has posted a job for someone to binge shows on Netflix. The job pays $2,500. The deadline for applications is Monday, which is National Binge Day. America's Got Talent is bringing some spice back to the show. Former Spice Girl Mel B is returning as a judge for a new winter edition of the series called Fantasy League. She'll join Heidi Klum, Howie Mandel, and Simon Cowell in drafting teams of fan favorite acts. The show will premiere in early 2024.
Turns out inflation won't be spooking shoppers away this Halloween. The National Retail Federation predicts a record $12 billion in sales. That's about $2 billion more than last year. More consumers are expected to return to pre-pandemic norms by throwing or attending a party and taking their children out trick-or-treating.
And there you have it, 5 on your side at 10. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next.
Please start your day with Today in St. Louis from 4 to 7 a.m. and have a great tomorrow.